That's right. It's time for a Jigsaw Club. I hope you're ready. Tips and techniques every 2 weeks. 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 Tips and techniques every 2 weeks.
Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I hope you have a good couple of weeks. Love seeing your paintings. So this is an interactive art class where you can paint along, and yeah, you can just join me and let's paint some things. It's gonna be great. Today we're looking at limited palettes, and put simply, limited palettes means instead of painting with all your paints, you get like a set, you get all of the colors. Just choose a select few. And the challenge last week was actually to paint an animal in 2 colors and white. And loads of you have already done that. So you've already painted with a limited palette. So well done. And we're gonna kind of follow up on that, learn about why they're great, how they can help out, color harmony and all sorts, and really use them as a tool for our painting. So yeah, one of my favorite subjects. I hope you're going to enjoy. This week I've got 2 small boards. I've got one around somewhere. 2 small little canvas boards. I've got oil paints and I've got a pencil. But you can join in with any paints that you like. Watercolors would work well this week. Acrylics would work well. Gouache. So yeah. There's no excuse. Join in with whatever you've got at home, okay? And I hope you have fun. Oh look, thanks Max. That's what I'm going. Quite small. I've got 2 of these today, so quite small little canvases. And so remember, it's all about giving it a go, and let's see what we do with experimenting and painting together. Schedule. Let's have a look. What we got this week. Right, so starting off strong with the psychology of colour. Going to look at, I don't know, maybe you'll find something out about yourself that you didn't know. I don't know. Don't know where I was going with that. Then we're going to go YURMBY Wheel. This is, we looked at this a little bit last week. We looked at colour wheels and colour mixing. And the YURMBY Wheel is specifically good for plotting pigments on the wheel. And more about that in a minute. Color models, limited palette examples, okay? And then we're going to look at Analogous flower painting. We're going to do a study based on one of these limited palettes. All important tea break. Then I've got absolutely the fantastic James Gurney he's really kindly let us use a few of his clips from his channel, and we're going to do a little bit of an artist spotlight on him. And he's also let us use some of his artwork to help illustrate the different types of color palettes. James's books are incredible. If you don't know about James, he illustrated the Dinosaur series, but also hold on a sec. Where am I? All right. Also, this book, Color and Light. This is my favorite book, painting book of all time. I recommend it to everyone that wants to get into painting seriously. And yeah, it's just full of all the little secrets, all the little bits that you didn't know existed. And it's really just brilliant knowledge. I bought this more times than I can remember for friends and things. I brought it in all different languages. It's fantastic. It's like a Bible. So thank you, James, for letting us use some of your knowledge and some of your imagery. And thanks for doing what you do, but we'll get to you in a bit. So, where are we now? We're still on the schedule. Yeah, then we're going to take some of that knowledge and some of that inspiration from James and create a landscape painting. Okay, going to be a little bit of a surprise with that one, but it's essentially a landscape painting. Then we're going to look at your challenge submissions from last week, the 2 colour and white pictures. They're fantastic. I cannot wait to show you and then share them all. And then this week's challenge. And if you want to share your work this week, hashtag Jake's Art Club, and we might be able to get some of your pictures live on the stream as well, the viewer gallery at the end. So that's it. I hope you join in. Hope you have some fun. And I just want to give a shout out to everyone that's joining the stream recorded as well. So I know loads of you, well, a few of you joining in live. Hello everyone. But also I know a lot of you join in later on in the week, and I just wanted to say hi to you as well. Okay. Yeah, if you enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it around. Thanks so much. So let's do this. Psychology of colour. Right. So colour. We can get feeling, mood, and emotion kind of from looking at colour, and that is associated with colour. Some of that comes from natural phenomena, such as the sun. You know, we look at the sun and we feel warm. We might be reminded of a nice day of fun, and things like tastes. You know, all our senses. So you might look at green and automatically think of apple, and might think of something sour, perhaps. I don't know. So we build up these kind of connections in our minds, and everyone can experience colour in a slightly different way, like this. So, but it is really necessary to take note of how they can make you feel when creating an image or a story. So I'm going to show you 3 colours now, and I want you to just take note of how you feel as you're seeing them. Okay, so red. Do you get any immediate emotional responses? Try not to think of the subjects. I was just trying to make the slides a bit more interesting. But hi everyone. Yeah, so red. Is there any kind of immediate response that you get from red? You might feel powerful. You might feel strong or angry. I don't know. Have a think. And the next one, purple. Any kind of emotions or characters. Just have a little think. I really recommend the book. It's fantastic. Hi everyone. Carolyn's in the kitchen with her paints. Brilliant. So yeah, purple. How's that making you feel? And then last one, green. Do you get any emotional response from that, or immediate images in your head? Wow. So Naomi just said she knows a blind person who can feel colour. Wow. That's amazing. I have no idea how that would work. Wow. Oh, I just want to say a big shout out to Phil as well, who was joining in last week, and he's colourblind as well, and it was his first time ever painting with colours, and he was just confident, gave it a go, and the image was fantastic. So well done, Phil. Right, here we go. So here's some suggestions of what you might have felt. And that red one, you might have felt excitement, strength, love, anger, power, danger. And the purple, maybe a bit royal, maybe a bit mysterious, or a bit of wisdom. And the green, yeah, fresh, peaceful, healthy, natural. And it might not have been these things, you might have had an experience that made you feel a different way. But I think it's good to know that a lot of the time these associations are similar, within us. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I just wanted us to have that in mind today, the kind of the psychology and the association of colour as we go into the next part. So we looked at colour wheels last week, and we looked at the kind of standard colour wheel, and then we also looked at my colour mixing wheel that helps us looking at warm and cool colours. So if you haven't checked that one out, definitely go back and look at that if you're into mixing colors. But I also showed you the YURMBY wheel, okay, that is really good for optical representation and for plotting on pigments. Okay, so take a look at the two. What do you think, what's different? Can you notice anything that's different? The positions of the colors. So, one thing that I noticed initially is there's a lot more greens, okay, on this one on the right hand side, the YURMBY wheel. Okay, so the blue's shifted down, hasn't it, to this sort of southern position. And what else do we have? We've got less reds, so red's a lot closer to yellow. So normally yellow, red and blue are kind of evenly spaced, but not in this case. And we've also got cyan and magenta, kind of vibrant pigments added that just kind of weren't possible with the other wheel. Okay, so what about complementary colors? So last week we looked at mixing blue with orange to create gray and to desaturate that color, reduce the chroma. If we did that with this one, we'd end up getting green, wouldn't we? So the opposite of yellow, the opposite of blue on this wheel is yellow. And if we mix them two, we'd get green, we'd get a different color. So what's going on there? Well, let's look at these color models. Okay, the normal color mixing wheel is subtractive color, using subtractive color. And the YURMBY wheel is talking about additive color. Okay, so subtractive color is kind of the mixing of pigments, the mixing of paints, and then additive color, it's how TV screens work, it's how your computer screen works, and it's also how our eyes receive light and kind of make sense of color. So yeah, and I just want to show you the similarity. So here you can see the contrasting colors. You've got the orange contrasting with blue, and then yellow contrasting with blue on the additive color. So you can see that is different there on them two different models. And just want to put the color wheels next to them so you can kind of see the similarities there of the organization of the color. Okay, and then let's give additive color mode. Let's give that a test right now. Okay, so I'm gonna get you to stare at the screen for 30 seconds. Okay, stare at this dot, and after 20 seconds I'm gonna change the screen so it's gonna be white. Okay, it's not gonna jump out at you, don't worry, but stare at that black dot now and just focus on that. Try not to move your eyes. And experience the way our eyes use that additive color mixing. Okay, so 5 more seconds and I'll change the screen. There you go. So what should have happened there is you should see now a blue after image on that white area of the screen. That happens because the eyes, the photochemical activity in the retina continues even when we're not, like, what's the word? Even when we're not experiencing a stimulus. And there's a theory of why that works, and it's called opponent process theory. It's not fully known, it's not fully worked out yet, but they feel that you fatigue your photoreceptors. Okay, so if we go back to the additive color on the right, the blue and the yellow are connected, green and magenta are connected, red and cyan are connected. And where we've looked at the yellow for so long, we've fatigued them receptors. So you're kind of magically seeing blue. So it's kind of like a little bit of proof that that's how we see color, and it's different to how we mix colors. Okay, so there we go. So on the left, it's great for mixing color and for creating a painting, and this other wheel helps us understand how the viewer will experience a painting. Okay, so whereas you might have thought that orange was opposite blue, in the optical world, yellow is, okay, and we can use that knowledge to imitate light and imitate how estimate how we're going to experience these paintings. So again, I'm not an expert on this. You need to get the book. You need to read up on it. But I wanted to give you a bit of a taster of these color theories. I think it's fascinating, and we're just we're dipping in, having some fun. But if you want to find out more, please do. Now, charting pigments. Okay, so this is an example of a limited palette. We've got the yellow on the left, cadmium yellow pale hue, a burnt sienna, and French ultramarine. And James Gurney put together this colour wheel based on data compiled by a guy called Bruce McEvoy. And it's an amazing colour wheel because there we've got all the examples of quite popular pigments, and we can see where they are on that YURMBY wheel. So where are these pigments? Let's have a look. So what we do is we create like a mask, a triangle between the pigments, okay, connecting the three pigments. And then what that shows us is anywhere in that area we can mix, we can make the colors within that area, okay, using them three colors. And it also shows us really, interestingly, what we can't mix, okay? So we can't mix, here I'll put it on a brighter wheel. We can't mix, real bright magenta and strong reds. We can't mix loads of them cool greens. We can just have a little bit of green from them colors. We can have some red, because the burnt sienna is probably the reddest we can get. So it's really showing us what's possible within that picture if we were to paint it. And we might use them colors a little bit later on. Okay. So limited palettes. I'm going to show you real quick some examples of this in action. So here we go. We got monochromatic painting, just using one color, and you can see that there's no real mask on the color wheel. We've just got one picked color. Let's add another color into the mix, and this picture by James Gurney, fantastic image from I think it's the latest Dinotopia book, and yeah, it's a real nice combination of kind of like this yellow, this orange, yellowy orange, and this cool blue, the cyan. And it's creating a wonderful limited palette. You can see there's no greens. Well, there's some greens, but not real strong greens. There's no reds in the image anywhere. And it really suits that image, And thinking back to the psychology of color that we were, thinking about, it's perhaps affecting your experience of this picture because your association with blue, with orange, it's adding to the character of these dinosaurs. It's, you're getting an emotion perhaps. And let's look at another 2-color palette. This one's great, one of James's plein air studies in gouache. And what I love about this is we've used blue and red for the limited palette, but there's trees in the background, and you can't make green, so you have to improvise. You have to look at the values and use your warm and cool and try and make the image work. And this is a lot of films look like this nowadays. A lot of, where it's, really limited in the color, and you only have perhaps 2 colors. I've got an example of a triad, and this is where we add 3 colors into the mix. So you can see that it's forming like a triangle now on the color wheel. And this is quite a specific mixture of colors, and you can see the purples, the greens, they're making this kind of like a mysterious scene, and also it's really telling us what time of day it is. These cool blues, this sort of moonlit scene. They're really fantastic stuff, and really brilliant use of limited palettes. And then we've got something called an Analogous. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Analogous triad. So we've got 3 colors here. I'm thinking this might have been a yellow, a red, and maybe a burnt umber or a black, or maybe it could have been blue, but it wouldn't have been mixed all the way to blue. So it's created this triangle. And notice that this triangle is all on one side of the color wheel. So that's what makes it analogous, because the colors that are analogous are next to each other on the color wheel. And this is what films look like most of the time. They really kind of stick to one part of the color wheel, and they shift between scenes. They take you on a color journey throughout the whole film to try and influence your emotions. So we're going to take. Oh, I just wanted to add this is a little bit of a gimmick, but I wanted to show you what it would look like if you added some blue. Okay, so let's just imagine that James had painted that canvas holder blue, but imagine that he didn't mix the blue color in with any of the other colors, and that's you create an accent across the other side of the color wheel. And if he had mixed that blue in with the colors, then we'd create a much larger triangle over the color wheel, and a lot larger. We could have had all the purples, lots of wider range. But you don't have to mix it, you see. So that's what creates that little dot of color, that accent color. It's kind of interesting. So. Let's jump into a painting. So I've teared your ear off, but I hope you found that interesting. I really love the whole additive and subtractive color modes, and it can be a little bit of something to get your head around, but don't worry, because I'm not there yet. It's one of them things that you probably don't need to know about, but it's good to know about. So you definitely paint a painting without any of that knowledge, but it's cool, right? And if you look at James's illustrated book, it's full of that, and it's full of brilliant use of that knowledge. And it would have been a totally different book without that. So just something to think about. Now we're going to jump into our first painting. We're going to do a flower, just something simple, and we're going to use hold on, Poppy's helping me out. Analogous color scheme. Okay, so we're going to do one of this analogous triads. So just give me 1 second. I need to get some water, and I'll be back. Cool, I'm back. Cool. So, I thought we'd do this painting this lovely flower. Just start something simple, and I want to use an Analogous atmospheric color palette. So what I mean by that, I'll show you the color wheel here. I want you to choose two or three colors that are next to each other or appear near each other on the color wheel. Okay, so you could choose where are we? Wait, hold on. Let's get this camera bigger. You could choose. We got a focus. Oh, you could choose, an orange and a yellow, quite near each other. You could choose a green and a blue. You could choose a purple and a red. Just have a little look at your paints and choose some that are close together on the color wheel. I'm just going to grab a different blue. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to go for green and blue, and the reason I want to go for green and blue is that we've got a green background, but we haven't got a blue flower. So I'm going to be forced to change the color of the flower and use my values and experiment with the color. Okay, so I'm going to go with green and blue, and I'm going to start by making some color strings, and I'll explain what that is, and hopefully you'll be able to see with this camera. Does that work? Okay, so I'm just putting my colors down. I'm going to make some color strings, which are basically then colors, but we've sort of separated it out into different values. And that's going to make the painting just that little bit easier when we come to do it. So I've got my two colors. You could have 3 colors, you could have 4 colors if you want, but as long as they're next to each other on the color wheel, and we get some nice bit of white. And okay, so here we go. Mix a few color strings. I'm terrible, I never use a palette knife, I always use a brush to mix colors. Okay, so I can look at my green here and think about what the intrinsic value of that green is, then add a little bit of white. Add a bit more white. I'm going to create, I think, 5 tones of this green. Just by adding more white. Okay, and then the last one's almost completely white. There we go, we've got a little string of green. I'm going to do the same with the blue. Swap brush. So there we go, I've got 2 colour strings just dyed in white, really simple ones. I could do one with them 2 mixed as well, but I think I'll save that for just when I'm painting. I'll mix the 2 together. Right, so that's what I've got to play with, and whatever colours they can conjure themselves, like when we're mixing them. So now let's do a little sketch, and let's do a little sketch and start painting. So I'm going to start the timer. I've got 25 minutes. How's everyone doing? Cool. Right, I'm going to start with a pencil. Just really quickly sketch out a little bit. So hopefully you've chosen a few colours. They don't have to be the same as mine, or they can be if you like. Just as long as they're near each other on the colour wheel. And remember, we don't have to be painting this flower yellow. We can paint it whatever our limited palette allows us to paint it. So I'm going for the outer edges of the flower, find the center. And then I can make sure all the petals then make sense, because I can lead from the center to the outer side of the circle. And I'm paying attention that all of the shapes of these petals are varied and follow the reference. Sorry if I rushed through that bit at the beginning, but I've been doing a lot of research, and I just wanted to share what we've been doing. Okay, there we go, I've got my full flower. I'm hoping to sort of turn the stream a little bit more kind of hands-on, rather than the sort of scientific information stuff. And I want to really give you guys, good knowledge, practical knowledge that you can use in your paintings, and just sort of share what I've been finding, what's inspiring me, and maybe you, hopefully you too. So now I've laid out the composition, but I want to just add a few lines in here to describe some of these shadows, because I like the way the shadows are casted. I don't want to lose that. So now we've got to make a decision. What are we going to have as our background? Okay, so one of our colors can be more dominant in the background to give like a bit of a difference to the flower. And I'm thinking the flower itself Yeah, I'm thinking blue background so that we're staying away from the green, like the obvious. And then I'm thinking blue, green for the yellow of the flower. So a green flower on a blue background, and maybe we bring a little bit of white or a little bit of the blue back in for the shadows in some areas. Let's give it a go. So you really got to be creative and play around with the colours, get the most out of them. Because you know, otherwise it would be monochromatic. It would be quite flat, perhaps, with just one colour. Okay, let's get a nice big brush. This is going to be quite an extreme example. It's an extreme colour scheme. I kind of want to bring in some kind of burnt umber or something to darken this blue. I might have to do that, but for now I'm gonna stick with the color scheme. Fight any kind of urges to make it look normal. Analogous. So I need to get a load of this paint on quickly. Just so you know, I haven't planned this. I haven't done one before, so it could turn out to be just a lesson learned, you know. I like doing it for the first time on the stream. Okay, so I just kind of put some blue in here, going against every bone in my body because I don't usually use the paint straight out of the tube. Get something down. There we go. Right. Now, to the inside of the flower, it's going to be green. Starting with the darks. Just going to turn the brightness down on the camera a little bit. So I'm still using my paint strings. From earlier. And trying to pay attention to where the flower changes colour. So I'm just blocking my lighter values now. And fingers crossed that it sort of comes together. So I'm just trying to piece together the values. Just plop them in. But it's very strange to be working in this way, with this color palette. I haven't even mixed the colors together yet. Just done them separately, which is a bit of a shame. I need to bring in the blue to make it flesh out that character, perhaps. Let's go back and refine some of this background. Bring in some green to add a bit more interest. It's actually making it slightly darker as well, which is great. So you should have a funny looking flower starting to come together on your page. It's going to be interesting to see what colours people have gone for. And I can't wait to share with you some of Gurney's videos in a minute. Some clips. He's an absolute inspiration. See, I'm using the brush now to just sharpen the shapes that we had before. And just trying to make them petals look just a little bit more convincing. by improving their shape. Making a lot of mess here. Lots of fun. Just trying to make sense of these pollen areas. Now I want to go in with kind of the lightest lights. See if I can add a bit more life to this and improve the form. few minutes. So just popping in them highlights and then darkest dark, little bits of detail and things. Seeing if I can just improve it in any way. Got to look, you got to step back. Think, how can you fix it? How can you make it work? Sometimes it's that last few, them last few brush marks that are going to save a painting. Or it's just a mess and you move on to the next one. Cool. Yeah. That's it. Just gonna try to liven up the background just a little bit and take away some of that nasty blue out of the tube. But there we go. Cool. I think we're done. We've got a paint an analogous painting, colors similar next to each other on the color wheel, and I've tried to use the colors to add a little bit of depth. So we've got a little bit of more of the blue in the background and then more of the green on the flower. Yeah, I'm not particularly happy with it. I think I could have been more refined in this area, more really thinking about what I was doing and perhaps drawing it out and saving the areas for the paint. But I kind of went in heavy and I carried on heavy. But yeah, nice little study. Interesting to know about the different about how one of them color schemes works, and also a real challenge to paint something that's not the color that it is on the stream. All good?
All good.
Yeah. We're going to take a 5-minute break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you all about James Gurney, and we're going to take a look at some of his work. We're also going to do another painting, spend a little bit more time on it, and do a different type of limited palette. So nothing to prepare though, so just grab yourself a drink and I'll see you in 5 minutes. And yeah, good stuff. See you in a minute.
That's right. It's time for a Jake's Art Club. I hope you're ready. Tips and techniques every 2 weeks. 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 Tips and techniques every 2 weeks.
Hey, we're back. Hi everyone, hope you had a little cup of tea or a little drink. So we're back. We're going to look at James Gurney, and we're going to have another painting. James has let us use his clips really kindly from his YouTube channel to help showcase his work. He couldn't come on for an interview due to his internet connection where he lives, but he was really happy for us to use his work and to share some of the things that he's kind of pre-recorded. And I want to start with Dinotopia and this brilliant clip of kind of how it was made and his process, and it's a little glimpse into James Gurney's imagination, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So I'll see you in a minute. Oh, there we go.
Dinotopia is the one place on Earth where dinosaurs never went extinct. And humans and dinosaurs have formed a civilization together over thousands of years. This is where the whole idea began, because the inspiration from this location caused me to paint Waterfall City. And that was the first painting of Dinotopia, a key location just like this, except imagine a huge city like Venice built in the heart of this waterfall. I came here as a college student, and I have come here many times since to paint these falls, to paint the way the water comes over the edge. You can photograph it, but you have to come here to paint it to actually see what it looks like. And I use the colors and effects from making studies on location to do my paintings of Waterfall City and to transport myself in my imagination to this world beyond our own of Dinotopia. After completing Waterfall City, I got the idea of painting other panoramic scenes of lost empires. And the first idea that came to mind was a parade of people and dinosaurs. This painting grew out of the ideas that were emerging from science in the 1980s. The idea that dinosaurs were more like birds rather than like reptiles. This revolutionized everything. If I could imagine that dinosaurs were warm-blooded and intelligent and dynamic creatures, what would it be like to live with dinosaurs? So I began by traveling to museums, talking to scientists, going on location, looking at dinosaur bones and footprints to try to visualize, to imagine what these creatures would look like. Often that meant doing studies of dinosaur skeletons in museums and to actually come in contact with the physical evidence of dinosaurs. So I did a series of drawings based on this idea of people and dinosaurs living together. And then I drew a map. And by drawing a map, I pulled together all these separate lost world ideas into a single island, filled with cities and jungles and canyons and mountains in the center. So if this were to be an adventure story, a travel story, I wanted to make sure it was long enough to really have enough scope to develop this world, all the dimensions of this world of Dinotopia, how people lived, how the dinosaurs and humans communicated, the sports that they may have had, and some of the secrets that the island held of its distant past. One of the challenges of creating the paintings for Dinotopia was how to paint realistic pictures of scenes that didn't exist. One of the things that I did was to start with a lot of sketches, loose sketches done in pencil or pen or marker to work out ideas just out of my imagination. I then did a storyboard to plan the entire book, 160 pages. Then for some of the major paintings, I went through a stage of doing a charcoal tonal study and a color study before doing the final painting. A lot of the ideas for light and color and form in Dinotopia come directly from my plein air studies outdoors on location. I'm a very dedicated plein air painter and sketcher, and by sketching real animals and birds, I get a lot of ideas for how dinosaurs would move and act and behave. And also I traveled to places like the Grand Canyon to get ideas for how Canyon City should look. And places like Toledo in Spain helped to inspire some of the cities in Dinotopia. Part of the process for getting realism was getting believable people. Sometimes that meant putting on a costume myself, posing in a mirror, and doing a charcoal study for a final painting. Other times I would find the right costume and stand out in the driveway and then use the self-timer on the camera to take reference photos. But if I needed a lot of different types of characters or kids or different people, I would have neighbors and friends come by the house and pose in the backyard, and we'd take photos of a lot of different people in groupings and then use those photos as reference for doing the final painting.
Sorry. I was just saying how James is just fantastic at creating that world, and the amount of detail that he goes into to be able to where was I? The amount of detail that he's able to capture and really put his mind in that world, and I love as well that he's using a lot of reference, and he's using a lot of his real life knowledge and experiences from his travels and little sketchbook notes that he takes to bring realism to that work. It's such an inspiration. And I actually found James Gurney's work through his blog called the Gurney Journey, and it's where he's documented his travels and his process and studies, and I think he's done a post on the blog every day for like the last I don't know, I want to say 9 years, 10, maybe more, I don't know. Yeah, I think 2007 is when it started, and from that blog, from that knowledge gathering, was spawned the Colour and Light book. Okay, so a lot of what's in here is also on his blog, but it's just kind of been refined, and it's such a nice way to access the information. As I said, really recommend this book, and if you'd like a storybook to jump into, Dinotopia series as well, of course, just wonderful to flick through and to dive into. And I wanted to show you a little bit more about James's plein air studies and the way he kind of gets outdoors, and that's really inspired me over the years too. I've always sort of tried to take a sketchbook and take some paints on trips and things because of his amazing videos. And take a look.
Realist painter faces is how to translate those abstract patterns and textures into equivalent textures in the crude material of paint. Nature provides a limitless well of inspiration to draw from. And the rich, raw materials of these abstract ideas not only include the two-dimensional shapes on the rectangular canvas or page, but also the three-dimensional depth of space and light and time and water and gravity. So we have the foam rings above the green water and the long, straight, settled bank of foam a little ways offshore. All painting is at its heart abstract. But when painting from nature, we're called into the deeps, into the mysteries that are impossible to capture. All we can do is try to get in tune with them. The task in painting is to find ways to invent the textures that you see, to really represent them and translate them into paint. Nature is infinitely more complex than you can possibly ever render in a single session. A sketchbook full of color studies like this give me a catalog of effects of color and light that I can draw upon in whatever work I do later, whether it's a finished landscape painting or a fantasy painting or just having this record of a day spent outside.
Brilliant. And James is also a prolific illustrator for anything really that is that can't be photographed, that needs to be imagined, and is often briefed by the different sort of National Geographic, Scientific American, and these kind of magazines. And I've got one last clip to show you about a brief and how he goes to create the image. And I'll see you after the next clip.
Recently, I worked with paleontologist Scott Sampson to bring to life the dinosaurs that he has discovered along the shores of this vanished world. I drew sketches of giant crocodiles grabbing young dinosaurs by the tail and pulling them down. I imagined battles of bull cosmoceratops fighting off challenges from their rivals. Tyrannosaurs lurking at the edge of the swamp, waiting to catch the unwary. Attacking from behind, they would immobilize their prey with powerful jaws and heavy three-toed feet. How could I take these sketches to the next level? I needed to know how these poses looked in 3 dimensions. First, I made wire skeletons. Then I built up the flesh with clay and baked it in the oven. Then I painted the figures and set them up under a bright light. Now I could see how the light and shadow played across the overlapping forms. I drew the scene in pencil, and I was ready to paint. I then turned to Cosmoceratops. With its 15 bizarre bony horns, it was one of the most highly ornamented of the ceratopsians, a group of dinosaurs known for their elaborate horns and frills. By sculpting its portrait, painting it, and taking it outside, I had all the information I needed. Were the males colorful like male birds, or drab gray like rhinos? No one knows. When I was done, the art director from Scientific American came to pick up the paintings.
What a great glimpse into Gurney's studio. I'm sure I hope you enjoyed that. I just want to thank as well James for letting us use some of the clips and his images today. And we're going to now take a journey and take a step into James's studio and try and see what it's like to be in his shoes for a little bit. So I haven't got a maquette. I haven't been as inventive as James with the clay and all the wire, but I did manage to get hold of some models. Okay, so what we've done is we've managed to photograph the models and place them into a scene. Okay, and our next painting is a landscape, but we're going to be inspired by James here, and we've chucked a dinosaur in the scene. And yeah, we're gonna go for it. We've got about 40 minutes to do this dinosaur scene, and first 2 minutes I want to do just a quick thumbnail sketch, and try and follow a little bit of his process. Then we're going to spend 5 minutes sketching in the scene on the canvas and try and nail that down. Then a few minutes mixing paints and preparing our limited palette, and then we're going to do 30 minutes of painting. Okay, and we'll see what we can achieve. I know it's not a lot of time, 30 minutes, but maybe we can get a nice impression, and we can really have a bit of fun with this. So the paints I'm going to be using are the same ones as we did in this chart earlier. So the cadmium yellow pale hue, a burnt sienna, and the French ultramarine. So have a look and see if you've got paints similar to that, or by all means choose your own color palette that you'd like to do based on this scene. So I'm going to put up there's our color palette. That's what we're going to go for. So we're not going to capture all of the greens that are in the scene, probably not all of the reds too. And I chose this sliver of color just because I thought it would limit the opportunities to kind of go wrong with the color. I think having a limited palette can sometimes be really good tool for us to just be able to focus on the drawing or the values, and then we know that the limited palette is going to keep us in safe territory in terms of color. So yeah, we'll see how this turns out. I'm going to grab a little bit of paper and a little bit of paper, and we're going to do a quick 2-minute sketch sort out our values, okay? So, I might have a sketch pad to the hand, little something. There's my clip. There we go. So, here I've got a little black and white version of the image as well. So we can see kind of simplified the values of this scene. And the yellow was this cadmium yellow, but it was the pale hue, it's the pale version of it. But by all means, you know, any kind of warm yellow will do. Yeah, so it's like it's a yellow, a red, and a blue, but the red is quite a special red. It's almost like a burnt umber, or like it's more sort of orangey, with quite a dark intrinsic value. Cool. So yeah, let's do a little sketch, and I'll start the timer. So the thumbnail, as we're setting out our thumbnail, we can choose to leave in and take out any elements. I really like the way the head is against that light background. I want to perhaps accentuate the aerial perspective there, so that this head is darker and the background's lighter. I like this shoreline. Quite hard to sketch on this. But yeah, it doesn't need to be accurate at all. Just block in your tones. Okay, so I like the darkness of the trees here. I want to perhaps create a few more sky holes in the trees. But it's definitely dark on that tree line there. Okay, so the dinosaur does have value on it, but it has like kind of like a light coming from the top. So we need to make sure that we're capturing that light on the top. So yeah, keep thinking I'm not doing a drawing, I'm doing a value study. I'll make this area a little bit darker. Okay. So any preparatory study is just going to get you kind of used to the scene. It's going to help to establish the value relationships in your mind. Okay, so yeah, maybe more or less we've got these shapes of dark that are making the dinosaur really pop out against the background there. Then the shore gets dark at the front, and there, something like that. Okay, so that's helped me. I'm trying to synthesize what's going on here in terms of lights and darks. I'm going to put that to my side and make sure, keep this in view and make sure that I'm sticking to the value arrangement that I set out at the beginning. Cool. Okay, so next part, sketching. I'm going to put some grid lines on to help us. Let's sketch out the scene. Okay, so I've got some grid lines, sort of some third, rough thirds, so we can put them on. Put on some rough thirds to help us with the organisation here. Just going to sketch out a rough outline quite lightly. So the grid can just help us speed up that initial drawing and get things in proportion. More or less. Bit of a time trial challenge. I promise I'll go easier on you next week, guys. But no artist works in perfect conditions, eh? So you never know. Could end up okay. Where's our, got a little rubber. I think I'm gonna finish my sketch soon. Coming up to 5 minutes on that, I think. Just as long as there's an interpretation there, I'll be happy. Think of the days of preparation that James would have, and the research in the museums and preparatory sketches. Just going to outline some of these trees. Okay. Getting rid of them grid lines now. Just going to clean up the sketch. Okay, gonna have to leave the sketch there. Let's. It looks like a cartoon character. Let's see how this goes. So we've got another few minutes. Oh no, I've lost all my mixing time. So let's get the paint on the palette and let's go for it. So it's a little bit more of a normal kind of palette this time. It'll be a little bit more comfortable. But it's still a limited palette. Still really nice and going to help us keep our colours in harmony and yeah, hopefully tie the scene together and make it work as a single image, you know. Okay, let's go. It's a nice big brush. So I'm going first for that tree line and that strong value. James uses his oils quite thinly. It's almost like watercolor. Gurney. Yeah, it's quite. I think it's quite an interesting way to paint for illustration because it's kind of helping with speed. You okay, bro?
Yeah, able to show the palette cam.
Oh yeah, of course.
I had a little chat with the judges, and they said that you can have 3 extra minutes for your mixing time.
Thanks. Okay, yeah, I'll put that there. There's my palette. So I've just got like a nice sludge, green sludge to start with. And I'm going in real dark. Now we didn't get much time with the sketch, but that doesn't mean that we can, as we're painting, we're always sketching, right? So we can carry on kind of refining that. As we're painting. Just trying to bring a little bit of colour into the water. Let's work fast. Got this foreground sludge. tactically staying away from the dinosaur for the moment. Just trying to use colours that I've got mixed as I can, you know, as I see them. Thing about greens, trees, and all sorts of, like, you know, anything green and living, I guess. You want to vary the green as much as possible, because our eyes. Did I say earlier about the eye evolving to see more green? Because we used to live out in the fields and in the forests, so it's really important for us to you know, be able to interpret that landscape. So we're really good at seeing greens. We've got lots of green cones in our eyes, and yeah, that's why if a painting, you know, a landscape uses only 1 or 2 greens, it can look really flat, and it can look really kind of, I guess, amateurish, I guess, because you're not getting that natural variation that exists. Okay. Let's. I'm going to paint a bit more into the sky, and then paint the sky back onto it. Some nice reds here. And let's try and get that distance. So a little bit more blue, a little bit more white when things are in the distance on a day with blue sky. So we can use that blue from the sky down in the river as well. Oh, that should be there. Blue here. Blue here. I will try and be less ambitious with the streams. Okay. So I'm going to just put in that last bit of ground, and then I think I'm ready to put in the dinosaur. Okay. So we've got kind of a fleshy yellowy colour underneath. It goes dark, sort of like a reflection from the ground. Then we've got the darkest part, kind of the core shadow, and then we've got this real intense light from the top. So quite a tricky lighting scheme. I'm going to try and capture that orange kind of glow first. This is a fun one. Oh, looks like the camera's stopped. There we go. Lucidum Art just said, "This is great." I'm not sure if that's sarcasm, but thanks. Right. Okay, so I think, yeah, I've managed to quickly block everything in. Now I need to go in there and make sense of it. A lot of it isn't making sense to me on the page, but you know, we get to these points and you gotta either keep trying or, you know, you start another painting, start again. Then I'm going to give it a bit more. Perhaps just slow down a little bit, and you know, just remind myself it doesn't have to be finished on the stream. Just focus in on what's important. What's important here are the values. And I set out to get an impression. So let's try and get that. Hope you're having fun joining me painting a dinosaur for the first time. Can't wait to see how you guys get on. I've got a really fun challenge for you this week. Can't wait. And So it's really interesting, the scaled texture, really quite difficult to emulate. Yeah, let's experiment, and maybe you can come up with some kind of method for the texture using the brush or different types of brushes, and yeah, I think it's just a time to have fun and mess around with the paint, adding a little bit of texture in there. I'm just trying to use thick paint, almost white, almost completely white, and I'm just trying to use the thickness of it to create a little bit of impasto, bit of raised texture. And I'm also using that to hopefully fix some of the values that are wrong. Just always to try and be correcting and keep your eye on the kind of abstract quality of the values and everything. Look at where things need to be darker, things need to be lighter, color shifts. And if you just keep looking at the relationships, the image will emerge. It will emerge. It just might not seem like it at the time. Some of these reflections are a little bit blue, some of them are a bit warmer. Got a few minutes left. Let's do it. Let's just bosh some teeth in there. Try and correct some of the. I'm going to mix my red and my black, and my red and my blue, and try and bring some darkness where it needs to be. fill in a few bits that I've forgotten. Here and there. And yeah, there we have it. A very crude dinosaur in 40 minutes. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed painting with me. That's quite a funny one, isn't it? I like it. It's not how I thought it would turn out, but it's, I guess, thinking about it with the amount of time and the kind of nature of the oils being, you know, I've used them quite thick actually. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool. I'll show you in the other camera. I think I would have loved to have just spent, you know, a few hours on this and done it on a big board or something. There you go. What do you think? Oh, I've got some blue on my eye. Guys, thanks so much for painting with me. It's brilliant. I bet you didn't expect to paint a dinosaur this evening. Looks like I've got eyeshadow. And thanks, James Gurney, for the inspiration and being such a mentor to so many artists out there. We're going to. I'm just gonna. If you'd like to share your artwork, hashtag Jake's Art Club on Instagram and mention me, and Max behind the scenes will get hold of your work and make sure to put it up here. So yeah, really. Oh, the camera's frozen, isn't it? I just want to say, there we go. Yeah, well done everyone. That was great fun. I mean, where are we going? Okay, so we give you a chance to post your work to Instagram if you want to be in the viewer gallery at the end. And in the meantime, I just want to say a big thanks to our Patreon supporters. We had a few more this week, and yeah, it's always such a surprise and an honor that you'd choose to support our channel. So thank you everyone. And last week's challenges. Hey, let's do it. I've got oil everywhere. Let me just grab a wet wipe. There we go. Yeah, so I think this was the first one to come in. Taxi for Satan sent this in, and I absolutely love it. Look at it, it's so strong. Then brush strokes are brilliant. Yeah, just I love the choice of color as well. The purple and the yellow. It's such a striking use of brushwork, striking color pair. Yeah, I love it. It's just really, really awesome. So yeah, brilliant. Keep doing them. Keep doing the challenges. I love it. I think we had about 12 or 13 sent in. So let's jump through them. This is Golden Beard. Now, Golden Beard sent me this halfway through, and this is the first time I've seen it finished, and wow, brilliant control of the values. You really sculpted that well on the face. Just wonderful. I love that we can see a little bit of texture of the paint. Really nice color choices: cobalt blue, permanent intense red. Cool, really cool. I like the purple that they've created, you know, in the shadow areas, and you can create such a lovely dark, can't you? So Golden Beard, fantastic. I love that picture of the palette too. Fantastic. Right. Oh, this is Baddie Pen. Well done. I love this one. So this has got such a I don't know. I was just thinking, like, such a storybook vibe to it. It just looks so like a illustration, you know, that with so much character, and it's like a friendly tiger, but it's not. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like this expression isn't friendly, but I feel like we could make friends with him. I feel like yeah, maybe give him a, I don't know, like a curry or something, some lamb. I don't know. But yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? And what a color combination! So we've got grey, cerulean blue, and white. Oh wow! So it's just grey. It's really dulling down that blue, and it's almost creating a bit of a red there. Can you see that? Maybe there's some red in the grey or in the background there. I love that little bit of warmth popping through. Really well done. Oh, fantastic! So this is Kerry sent this in, and yeah, really cool. I love this little sketch of this guy stomping towards us. The mauve, it's mauve and ochre. So, oh, awesome. So a really kind of muted ochre and then mauve, like really dark, really strong. And look at the wonderful colours that you've managed to capture. I love the texture. I love the blockiness and the impression. Really, really cool. These colours, you know, they really do tell a story, and that tells me like it's a real hot day, and yeah, it's like the light glowing off this elephant. Ah, look at this. So Lucy, really well done. Lucy did a really creative way of choosing her colours. She had her hands covered with a sheet in a big bowl, and she was picking them out randomly, and really great combo, the blue and the yellow. Yeah, I think Lucy did a few of these, and they're really, really cool. Just that green coming in for the midtones, it's just so fun, and really nice drawing. You know, really good pictures too. Oh yeah, Lady Lubes, Bird Lady Lubes. It's Laura, I think. Love these. I think Laura's done quite a few of the challenge. Really do go and check her account out and check them out, because they're wonderful. But this one's so striking. It's got beautiful character. You captured them eyelashes and that wonderful texture. I really do love this. Yeah, the paper is just glowing with that yellow. Really cool. Well done. Oh, this one, yeah, Nikki, I love this. So this was I thought it looked like one of them 70s photo shoots where you have like the guy in the background in a different angle and then the guy up front. You know, I thought it was really creative, really nice. And yeah, so what have we got here? Studio yellow, ochre, and white. So two different types of yellow. Very, very, very cool. Like, what's the word? Analogous, right next to each other on the color wheel. And really interesting playing off with that really light, bright yellow for the background. Really cool. And you've even managed to get the colors really work. It looks really hot and really really suited. Yeah. Oh, this one, yes, Buddy Pen. I thought this was incredible. I just love the eyes on this. It's just so cool. That whole texture, you know, this needs to be a print. I think this is brilliant. Love the texture that you've captured. Ah, so it's awesome. That I can imagine a whole calendar of animals, you know, in this style. Really awesome. Pagan. Oh, this was the red and the blue, the jellyfish. So what a great creature to go for. Jellyfish. I would never have thought of that. It's awesome. Really tricky subject, because you've got so many, shifts in value, shifts in color, and you've done a great job and really thought about it well. Getting that background and work on over the top of that, and it looks like you've put in a lot of highlights at the end as well. So Pagan, just want to say great stuff. Keep it up. Yeah, really nice. This is good. So who's this? Pronounced tight. Sorry, the Instagram names are so funny. Not your one, I just mean trying to read them. But this is really geometric. It's like a nice design to it, hasn't it? Like really simplifying the value shapes and putting in, these colors, these wonderful colors, and yeah, just love it. And I think this is a big reminder that simplicity goes a long way. I mean, today we tried a whole forest and a dinosaur and everything, but actually simplifying things to their most purest form can be so nice, and really tells the whole story with paint. So really nicely done. Oh, cool. Yeah, this parrot's wonderful, by Artwork 0511. No, really nice. So have you done a 511 paintings already? Is that, or is that can't be your date of birth? No, it's awesome. So what I really liked about this one was the attention, your eye is drawn to the eye where you've got that detail, and it flows down into these wonderful feathers. Nice big brush strokes, using the brush economy well. Really like it. I think a little bit of cheating with the orange background, the two colors, slightly free color there, but well worth it. I really like it. These rules are made to be broken. Look at this. Wonderful picture. Absolutely wonderful. This is straight out of, one of we were talking last week about illustrative, like children's books and like, the wonderful color palettes and the wonderful characters in them. And this just is, it's exuding atmosphere and character, and yeah, I want to read on. I want to turn the page and carry on reading this story. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, absolutely love it. So really cool. Like that, the blue and the red kind of playing off each other there, like not totally mixed, and it's nice. Yeah, and then this hyena. Look at that purple. So it's deep violet and burnt sienna. So another great combo. And I love that purple kind of mauve color, kind of shining off the fur. It's almost like a heat effect, like a mirage. Wonderful effect. Really nice character in the face. Lovely texture of the fur and everything. Really cool. Well done, Cheryl. And then we're back to the start. I wonder if we've got any more. I'm gonna have a look. No, it doesn't look like we've got any more. So guys, I'm sorry if your picture didn't make it up. I know someone sent one in today, but it hasn't made it into the gallery. I'm very sorry. But we'll make sure we get on Instagram and check everyone's out. This week's challenge. Yeah, let's have a look at what you're up to this week. So one of my absolute favorite things to do, we're going to go plein air painting. Okay, I want you to take a limited set of colors. Okay, get yourself a little set together and go and paint outdoors. All right, so if you've never done it before, just take the essentials, a little bit of water, few paints, little palette, you know, you don't need, you can do it away from the desk. Don't be frightened. Okay, paint a landscape or a landmark, maybe something near you, you know, you can stay nice and local. If you, for whatever reason, you know, can't go outside, why not paint a scene from your window? I'd love to see that. The weather's been beautiful over here at the moment, and I'd love to see, you know, these real life kind of moments captured in paint, as James was saying. You know, he captures a day when he goes somewhere, and it stays with him forever. And I think that's something I'd love to do, and I'd love to share that experience with you guys. So, yeah, get outside, get painting, and use a limited palette. Okay, see what you can do. Right, experiment, and get out there. And share your work by the 16th of August, and we'll be able to show your work on the stream. Yeah. Naomi's going out and trying it tomorrow. Fantastic. Get a nice little paint set together, and can't wait to join you on that challenge too. So, last bit, should we have a look? Has anyone sent any work in? Let's see. Any dinosaurs? Let's have a look. This is from last week. Let's have a look. Here we go. Oh, yes. Oh, wicked. Okay, I love this flower. Really nice. I'm not even going to say the word. Analogous colours. Nice yellow and green there. Nick, fantastic. Love it. I think you got a nice bit of definition in the pollen that I was missing as well. I think that's really nice. And the stems kind of coming up from the background. I think that's, yeah, you've captured that really well. There's quite a lot of atmosphere in here. So you can imagine this being, well, it's kind of like an extreme example, but like a filter on a film or something that's, you know, it's forcing you to think and feel in a certain way with them colours. Nick, really nice. Really nice. Ah, here's another one. Love it. Oh, Cam Art 4. Really cool. I like the. I think you've done a better job than me with the blue and a little bit of that green in there. I think that's green. Maybe a little bit of like a red or a burnt umber or something to darken the blue, which I think my one was missing as well. So that's really, really cool that you've gone in and added to that value. Yeah, that's really nice. That really has a real strong first impression and a real strong marks. Yeah, really cool. I like the way you've got the shadow on the different petals. You know, it reads well as a flower straight away. Really nice, really nice. Really like it. Great stuff. Here's another one. Oh, well done. Love the yellow and the orange. I'd love to have seen a little bit of the orange to creep into the flower itself, into the darker areas in the middle. I know we're against the time limit. I love your use of whites there, and I think you've got a real nice that dappled light effect. Just sort of squinting my eyes and taking a look, and the values are great, really good, really nice. Well done, Pagan. Ah, look at this. Yes. Awesome. Nice little dinosaur here. I love it. I can't believe we've been painting dinosaurs for like the last hour. What are we like? It's great. Such a cool subject. So we've painted something that doesn't exist. So happiness in the small things. My hair and the ceiling is full of oil paint. Wicked. I tell you what, we had to work fast, didn't we? That was a quick one, and I think you've done really well. Much better than me. No, really cool. I like the darkness on the forehead and the detail there. Yeah, it's come together. I think the limited palettes helped it kind of come together as a piece too. You know, it hasn't strayed too far in any direction. You know, it's not glaring in any way. It's kind of like you can almost step into the universe that it's in. Really cool. Like it. Awesome. Oh, I've got another one. Water brush pens. Cool. Oh, I like it. So this is totally different medium, and I love the kind of slightly harmonizing, you know, colors there. That's cool. You've managed to. It's interesting that you've managed to get the limited palette with the water brush pens. Nice. Yeah, I've not really used them a lot. I've had a few goes with water brush pens. Cool, really cool. Just looking at a nice bit of pattern, a little bit of detail in the face. Well done, Pagan. Cool, and that we're back to flower number 1. So, guys, oh, where are we? There we go. Well done. Thank you for joining me. Hope it's been fun. So this week, get outside, get in that beautiful sun, and you know, sunscreen. Stay safe. You know, follow all the rules, but get out outside if you can, even in your garden, and try and paint outside. We will be back in 2 weeks. Okay, so 17th of August, and that stream we're gonna simplify it down a little bit. Try not to be too much science and that sort of thing, but more practical, hands-on tips and things. I was getting a bit carried away, I think, with colour, but it has been fun. It's been a good journey, a Gurney journey, and yeah, like I'll have a great couple of weeks. I'll see you then. And what else? See you, Chocky Buddha, Dominique. Yeah, I mean, we really went for it today, didn't we? We gave it our best, and you know, I think I'd love to have another go at that process. You know, that what we saw from James Gurney's stream, from his clips. You know, that development, that storyboarding, the thumbnails, the sketching. You know, building everything up. Something that he has never seen before, doesn't know exists. You know, well, they knew they existed, right? But I just, yeah, what a treat seeing that. Yeah, can't wait to see your work next week, and over the next 2 weeks, and I'll say goodbye. Night, guys, or good morning, Australia. Cool.
That's right. It's time for a Jake's Hat Club. I hope you're ready. Tips and techniques every 2 weeks. Tips and techniques